So now pivoting to any specific processes or procedures, organizations had to be creative and account for things that they've never had to account for in the past. Are there any workflows or efficiencies that your organizations implemented during the pandemic that you will continue to use going forward? Anthony, can you kick us off here?
Nothing new in place on our end. We were well prepared at the time, and it just showcased the importance of how it is to have a cloud strategy ahead of time. And so before the pandemic, we'd always planned to have SaaS model, like have NBI, iManage, Foundation, Teams, and Elite all in the cloud. So so that helped us with on accessibility and to comply, being able to comply with client demands. And so to get our clients comfortable and minimize data-related risks and all. So yeah, that nothing really new changed. We were well prepared.
Mike?
Yeah, what it did for us a lot was it helped us to create a little bit more of an agile workforce. So some of those workflows were now, maybe we had attorneys that were working with clients that were on the West Coast. So instead of having to be in the office at 8 in the morning on Eastern time, they could start a little bit later so that they could talk with those clients that were maybe on the East Coast or on the West Coast, and work with them within their hours. It allows a lot more flexibility for everyone to work pretty much whenever they want to work, wherever they want to work.
Jason?
We were already well set up for remote working before the pandemic came. But one thing that we've done, we had to do immediately when the pandemic struck, was to relax our policies on working from home and using remote work rather than being in the office. Obviously, like everyone did. And what we've thought about since then is that we're probably going to keep some of those relaxations in place and just be a little bit less restrictive in when working from home is the appropriate way to be working. On reflection, we were probably a little bit too restrictive before, and this ties in with agile working really, because it's about letting the lawyer do his job in the best way possible and facilitating that. So that's what we've come to realize.
So actually, one of the interesting things that came out of this was everyone's used to video conferencing where there's 10 people in one room and one person is remote and they really aren't part of the conversation. What I heard from our executive committee was that the ability to have everyone remote at the same time actually increased the importance of that meeting. Everybody was equal. There weren't conversations going on in the room. So there's been some unusual things that I think came out of it that we're going to try and replicate. We also saw from some of our senior associates that they were thrilled. They got to go to client meetings, which they would have never flown across the world to go to. So we think there's some important client service and in collaboration things that by making everyone equal, it's made a difference. And we're trying to figure out how we do that before everybody heads back in the office and goes back to the old way of doing things.
So last but definitely not least, I'd like to talk about value. So during the pandemic, how were you able to show to the leadership in your organizations that you were achieving value? Anthony, if we could start off with you.
I'll give you an example of what happened, because we never planned to go to the cloud via remote. The plan was always to go in person and to set up the cloud, set up iManage in the cloud. However, the example I can give is just showcasing that having the right team where everyone knows which position to play. Say it was basketball. I'll give an example of this Boston Celtics, Big Three, where we are a team of individuals who they might not excel individually, they might not be that great, but when they come together, they are able to achieve a championship. That is what I think we showcased when we went to the cloud, is being able to change our strategy and plan from on-prem from in-person to remote work, and doing it successfully. So I think that is where the value came from the leadership, that they were able to pick the right team before, that when the plan changed, everyone knew what to do and everything was still successful.
Mike, how about you?
So some of our big pieces to this were the return on investment. When you look at what we had on-prem, how many servers we had on-prem supporting the iManage system, when you take into account server licensing, hardware, AC, electric, environmental, and then what it would cost to maintain your on-prem systems with just upgrades and maybe having a third-party vendor come in and assist you with these upgrades, it made so much more sense to just move it outside and put it into the cloud. We no longer had to provide that hardware. We no longer had to provide those, server licenses or client access licenses for those machines. That for us was a big win. It also helped us to consolidate our data center down. As we reduce our footprint with remote working, it becomes important to, hey, you can't have this giant data center anymore. We're reducing our footprint. So being able to move all of those physical servers or virtual servers off and save all of that became a very big selling point to moving this. And then when you take away all the pieces of, now you can access this through the web. You can get to this anywhere you want, anywhere in the world at any time. It became a very big selling point.
Jason?
Well, as a partner in the firm, I'm part of that leadership, and me and my fellow partners are constantly looking about how we're going to continue our ambitious objectives for growth, to grow the firm, and what are we going to have to do as we grow? How's that going to affect the costs? How are we going to resource things like our IT systems? And what the iManage Cloud has done is brought that all down to a per user, per month subscription figure, which is great for us. Because as we scale, we know exactly where we're going to be, what it's going to be costing us. It really helps with the budgeting and the forecasting. And before, when we had iManage on premise, we were, we'd think, at some point as we grow, we're going to hit a limit. We're going to need new servers. We're going to need more storage, all the rest of it. So it's going to be a lumpy path. It's going to be hit a certain point, big investment required. But now it's nothing like that. Now it's as we grow, it's a straight line. As we grow, we can predict what those costs are going to be. We've outsourced all of those problems about keeping up track with storage requirements and server capacity. That problem is iManage's problem now. We just focus on business growth. So we're looking at the things that we're best at, and iManage are doing the things that they're best at. So it makes complete sense to us.
And Ed, how about it, Aunt Fox?
So to take a tact a slightly different way, I think one of the really interesting things is that I think the technology in the legal industry showed the law firms was sort of showcased at Aaron Fox, which is every year there's an annual note to the firm about how did the firm do. And in 10 years, there's never been a mention of technology. This year, technology was the first paragraph in the whole thing. So I think the legal industry as a whole recognized that technology really is a critical piece to being successful, whether we're remote or in the office. So I think that really is the value, and I think as my fellow panelists have said, being in the cloud and being able to pivot and quickly do all these things and give access in many places is really a big part of that successful strategy.
That's great. Thank you guys for your participation today. I'm going to kick it back over to Debbie.
Yeah, I think some major themes that came out of this conversation, were that if you were already on the cloud during the pandemic, the value there was that your work wasn't disrupted. I think it's a little bit like an insurance policy. You have it in place because you don't want to ever have to know you have it. And for the companies that were trying to push to move to the cloud in a remote situation, it just further emphasized the need for technology, just like what Ed had mentioned, that the legal industry has just really recognized how important it is to keep our workforce connected, provide access anytime, anywhere, just like what Anthony said. And, from Jason's point of view too, that as a partner in a firm, it really, really magnified how important it was to devote time and resources to technology and an agile work approach. So thank you all again for your contribution to this conversation. If there are any other questions from the audience, we have been answering those questions throughout, but if you have any more questions you'd like to ask at the end, we'll field those now.
As each of our customers progress along their iManage journey, we want to ensure we help everyone stay engaged with all our learning resources, no matter where they are working from, so they can realize the full value of their iManage solutions. But we also understand the benefits you receive from being a part of our entire iManage community and the benefits you bring to the community, especially during these times of remote working environments. So, to help everyone drive change and progress along their journey with our products and services, we've created a forum for our entire community to encourage everyone to continue learning from each other. Your new community experience in Help Center offers you a collective space to connect and share knowledge with your colleagues, peers, and other trusted iManage partners and team members. You can personalize your identity in the community with your picture, role, and product experience, so you can easily connect and learn from other like-minded users. To help you further showcase your knowledge, iManage certifications and Community Involvement Badge Awards will be displayed in your profile and in your community posts. Learn more about other members of our community by following and sharing their posts and involvement too. We are always working to ensure that you and your organization are well equipped and successful along your entire iManage journey. To help you maximize the value for your users, we are launching a new program at Connect Live 2021, IM Community. With this initiative, we will be able to engage with you throughout the year. Connect Live sessions are just the start of the IM community journey. Through the rest of the year, we will continue to provide ongoing education that helps foster ongoing dialogue in our communities, in our Help Center, with our customers and partners. The conversations will be on topics including security, modernizing the work platform, cloud, and many more to follow. With this initiative, you can access the full range of help resources throughout the year. We can't wait to start on this engagement drive between iManage, our partners, and customers.